Claude, you kind of held your own in the first period, played fairly well. Was it just a matter of losing momentum with the succession of penalties?
Yeah, I think so. I think what hurt us the most was probably the second period where we took some penalties, and then not only that, but we didn't get the puck in deep. And there was a lot of attempts that were stopped, and puck was turned over. Where we had success in the first was that we did get the pucks in deep, and then our guys did a pretty good job of putting pressure and retrieving them, and at least held their own, had some chances. Second period was really probably the downfall of us in that game, and start off the third, give them an early goal. We know that's a tough hill to climb right now, and although we had some chances against a goaltender like Lundqvist, it's pretty tough to score 3 goals in one period.
It sounds like such a simple thing to get the pucks in deep and have guys go in and chase them. Where do you see maybe a little bit of that misfiring taking place?
Well, the attempts were there. In some of the cases, it's just that I didn't chip it well, and they just tapped the pucks out of the air and just stopped that chip in, and play turned over. And so those are the things, that would have given us some momentum. But the other thing is we have to kill the thing. It was 3 penalties we had in the second period. And it kind of took some momentum away from your hockey club, and they kind of all happened together. And so that kind of didn't help us. It didn't help our bench. And you got some guys sitting there for a certain amount of time. So when you play with the lineup that you have right now, you almost look to play a perfect game. It's got to be almost mistake-free, or major mistakes have to be almost invisible. And at the same time, you almost need your goaltender to stand on his head, and this is what we're going to need here in the next little while, is get all that stuff to be as close as possible to that.
Sounds like you're just basically kind of looking for that mentality that you had 2 years ago, game in, game out.
Well, you have to. You need that. I think the one thing you can't do is walk away here hanging your head and feeling sorry for yourself. You just got to plug away through those kind of things, and that's what we're going to try and do here in the next couple of days before we get on what we consider a pretty tough road trip.
The race.
With goals hard to come by, how much of a momentum builder would have been if you scored on that penalty shot?
Well, again, there's no doubt it would have got us back in the game. It would have been a 1-1 hockey game. Certainly would have built some momentum, but it didn't happen. So if you put all your eggs in one basket and think that because of that we're done, then obviously you are done. So I don't think we thought that was a turning point, but it certainly would have helped. We still felt that going into the second period, the way we played first, we were still in a good position to get back into the game. But unfortunately, our second period wasn't what it should have been.
I feel like that late goal might be something that Wideman can use as a little bit of a confidence builder. It seems like he's been kind of inconsistent for much of the year.
Well, you hope that any little thing right now will help in whatever case, whether it's for the individual player to feel better about himself, whether it's for the team to feel better about itself. It doesn't really matter, but anything positive we'll take right now.
There are teams that get a lot of offense from their back end. Could this next trip, could you become that kind of team the next few weeks if it had to be?
Well, we certainly have encouraged our guys to do that as far as D supporting attack, as far as even our forwards when they don't have a play, instead of forcing something to maybe look back for a late man. And we've kind of encouraged that. We've seen it a couple of times, but we've had to maybe get better at that. But those are things that absolutely, I think when you're looking for goal scoring, you got to look for it from everywhere. You just can't put the onus on just the forwards and leave the D's out of it. Our forwards are responsible for goals against as much as our D, so why wouldn't our D be the same offensively?
Defensively, you said yesterday, for this team to win games now with the skilled plays out, it's going to be a dogfight. So what goes through your head? The first goal, Rangers defenseman comes down and sort of, Z steps up and beats him and steps right in.
Well, yeah, but first and foremost, you ended up with 2 guys caught behind the offensive net, and right there it became a 4-on-3. So that's where the original problem started from there, and then more mistakes happened after that.
Well, Vladdy had that first period between Correctly and Sturm, and then it looked like the penalties and the special teams took him out in the second. Were you able to see anything from him tonight that would lend you to think that
Yeah, I wouldn't make a real huge assessment on that for that reason, that the second period he got pushed out a little bit because of all the penalties, and in the third we tried to switch to center, so we ended up putting Beige between Sturm and Rex, and then him between, thinking something might give us a spark there. And again, there are some power plays and so on and so forth. But again, it's a matter of maybe finding a little combination. And when you only had this situation for really the second game, if you consider Savvy's first shift not a game, we're still trying to find solutions here and finding the right combination that maybe will help us win some hockey games.
Anything else?